There was a time when there was a player so fast, so quick, so agile that they called him the Brazilian Blur. With his insane speed, he zoomed past defenders on fast breaks. He became a Sixth Man of the Year and won the NBA championship. Yet, a couple years later, he was no longer in the NBA. But what led to him completely disappearing? To figure out why he disappeared from the league and how he got his insane speed, we have to start in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Here, Leandro Barbosa was born on November 28 in 1982. As a child born in Brazil, he often played soccer. Since there was barely any basketball courts around, he would often play soccer barefoot, using rocks as goalposts due to his family's economic struggles. However, playing soccer barefoot gave him something that many didn't have. It gave him quickness, body control, and vision. His older brother Altero knows his younger brother's speed and footwork, and he realized he'll be better off playing another sport where his speed and quickness could give him an unfair advantage. So, he introduced him to basketball at the age of 5, and he shifted his energy towards training his younger brother. But there was only one problem. There were barely any basketball courts around to perfect his craft. With no place to train, his brother had to find a solution. So, he got creative and attached it over him to a wall in their neighborhood. He forced Barbosa to shoot on the rim. It was much smaller than regulation. In order to make a shot, Barbosa had to be nearly perfect on every attempt. His brother will also make him dribble a tennis ball through folding chairs, attempting to make him more elusive and agile. Through his brother's intense training, he would start to fall in love with the game of basketball, and he vowed to make it to the NBA no matter what. He wanted to play in MJ's league. More importantly, he wanted to get his family out of poverty, or else they'll die. A couple years later, he'll become the youngest player to earn a spot on the Brazilian national team, a major step towards his dream. He proved that he belonged, earning Rookie of the Year. And the following year, he took the league by storm, averaging 28.2 points with 7 assists and 4 rebounds. After a marvelous year, he was on the radar for the NBA, and he was about to make his dreams come true. In 2003, he was drafted by the Spurs as a 28th pick, but then he was traded to the Phoenix Suns. In his rookie season, he showed glimpses of hope. With his speed and agility, he pushed the ball up the court, creating easy offensive opportunities, and the following season, he would see some team success. The Suns made it to the Western Conference Finals, but they would get eliminated by Spurs in 5 games. In his third season, he made a huge leap in his offensive game. He added a silky jumper, and he was no longer one-dimensional. His scoring output increased to 13.1 points, but in the following season, he will really make a name for himself with his speed. He would zap around defenders, gliding right past them for easy buckets at the rim. He was the heart of the Suns' 7-second or less offense. The goal of the 7 seconds or less offense was to force Suns players to score as quick as possible. With that offensive scheme, he thrived. So fast, so quick, he earned the nickname the Brazilian Blur by fans. His speed became so annoying and frustrating for opponents that it even aggravated Kobe. When asked what could be done to stop Barbosa, he said, "Give him a soccer ball. Tell him Brazilians should be playing soccer, not basketball." His unique speed helped the Suns win the franchise record, 60 games, and he was named Sixth Man of the Year for the first time in his career. He tried to carry his spectacular regular season performances into the playoffs, but during the playoffs, the game slowed down due to his intense atmosphere. There weren't many fast break opportunities, and teams were often already set on defense, so he struggled throughout the postseason, and the Suns were eliminated in the second round. He followed up that season with another great one. He played all 82 games and finished second in the Sixth Man of the Year race. However, his speed was starting to become a problem. He would constantly run at what looked like 100 miles per hour, causing him to make poor offensive decisions, often landing him in no man's land. And the coaching staff was starting to get fed up with Barbosa's inability to change gears. They tried to trade him during the summer to the Trailblazers in exchange for Martell Webster and the 13th overall pick. Luckily, the trade didn't go through. However, things would slowly start to go downhill for him. His mother became seriously ill, and he had to miss 2 weeks of training camp. When he came back to the team, he used his mother's sickness as fuel. He channeled all his energy to helping the Suns make a deep playoff run. He continued to push their offensive tempo. He finished the season 10th in Sixth Man of the Year voting. In 2009-2010 season, he dealt with wrist injuries, forcing him to miss games. These injuries opened the door for Goran Dragic and Jared Dudley. They were able to get minutes and get inserted into the lineup. They brought something to the Suns that Barbosa didn't: defense. When Barbosa returned, he noticed that his minutes were getting eaten away by Goran Dragic and Jared Dudley, and the Suns were slowly starting to fizzle him out. The Suns claimed his minutes reduction was because he just didn't progress as a basketball player, but that wasn't true at all. The head coach just didn't value him. He failed to see the beauty of Barbosa's speed in the open court. He was unsure of how to use Barbosa. Once the season ended, he was traded to the Toronto Raptors. In his first season with them, he averaged 13.3 points, showing us glimpses of the Brazilian Blur. But during the summer, he signed with Flamengo basketball team of Brazil for the duration of the 2011 NBA lockout, and he was actually on the verge of staying there, potentially exiting from the league. However, he was able to make his way back in the NBA due to an out clause in his deal that allowed him to return to the NBA once the season resumed. A couple weeks into the season, he was traded to the Indiana Pacers. Placed on a new team with a new opportunity, he made the best of it. He was an explosive scorer off the bench, He helped the Pacers go 17-5 since acquiring him. Then disaster struck. He injured his left ankle towards the end of the season, and he barely could move in the playoffs. He became non-existent, and the Pacers were eliminated by the Miami Heat. In the offseason, he signed with the Boston Celtics, hoping his speed could make a difference in their offense. He ended up becoming a dependable player off the bench, giving us flashbacks of his Phoenix days. That's until he tore his ACL, and he was ruled out for the rest of the season. This was his first major injury in his career that could actually take away his biggest weapon, his speed. Unsure of what to do, he flew to Brazil.
I thought everything was done. I had a psychology, I had a physiotherapy guy, I had a conditioning guy, all together 24 hours around me. I give the mission for them to recover me, but not only my knee, my mental.
And there he stumbled upon Amica de Moto, a green leaf that's mainly located in South America. It's known to help horses recover from injuries. Curious and intrigued, he turned this leaf into a green liquid. He started to drink it every morning and every night. And according to him, after I started drinking that thing, I never got hurt anymore. Once the 2012-2013 season started, he got traded to the Washington Wizards, but he didn't play a single game for them. Teams didn't want to deal with him anymore after that major injury, and he was on the brink of being out of the league. Luckily, he got a chance with the Suns in 2014. He signed a 10-day contract. He had a explosive game during this time period, especially a 21-point outburst against the Knicks, making it his first 20-point game since 2012. The Suns believed in him, signing him to another 10-day contract, and eventually signed him to the rest of the season. However, a couple games later, he fractured his right hand and is out for the rest of the season. Health started to become a big issue in his career, even after his green juice. The injuries minimized his chances of showing his offensive capabilities, and teams were starting to get impatient. One more injury and we might not see him again. Fortunately, he dominated in the 2014 FIBA Basketball Cup. After his insane performances for his country, the Warriors decided to give him a shot.
Klay Thompson and asking, how is Barbosa? And Klay say, oh my God, man, he's still fast, Steve. I'm not gonna lie, he's quick, he's crazy. So that's when Steve Kerr made me a call and asked if I wanted to be a part of the Golden State Warriors as a basketball player.
Signed him to a one-year deal. He became a pivotal part of their offense. He often showed flashes of the Brazilian blur. He sped up slow-paced teams, making them adjust to the Warriors' run-and-gun offense. He ended the regular season without dealing with any injuries. He made it to the NBA playoffs, and he won his first ever NBA championship. After an amazing season, he re-signed with the Warriors. He continued to excel in his role. He helped the Warriors break an NBA record. They beat the 1995-1996 Bulls 72-10 record after finishing the season 73-9. He made it to the finals for the second straight year. In Game 1 of the series against the Cavs, he went 5-5 and scored 11 points. However, the Warriors failed to capture another championship. They blew a 3-1 lead, completely collapsing in the finals. In the summer, Barbosa signed with the Suns, the organization where he started his career and the place that gave him the name the Brazilian Blur. Throughout the season, he became 9th all-time in games played and 14th all-time in scoring for the Suns. And the following season, he showed that his game matured and he improved his shooting. However, on July 3rd in 2017, Barbosa was waived by the Suns, and no other team wanted him. He was only 34, but teams felt like he was useless and that he couldn't elevate their offense. With no team willing to give him a chance, he disappeared from the NBA. He attempted to make a name for himself in the LNB, Liga Nacional de Basquete, but he just wasn't the same. He wasn't moving as fast, he wasn't as agile, and he still lacked defensive discipline. And in 2020, he officially retired. Leandro Barbosa was the fastest player in the league that you probably never heard about. He was quick, agile, and elusive. There's a reason why they call him the Brazilian Blur. He was one of the best players to ever come off the bench, but he sadly started to fade away from the NBA year after year to the point where he just disappeared. But if there's one takeaway from his career, he disappeared from the league as an NBA champion and one of the most loved Brazilian players ever.